Hello there, it's Mac from Bay Area Flyers. Today, we're gonna try something different. If anyone's watched the Call of Duty Modern Warfare videos, a thing called commentary is pretty popular. So I'm gonna try it and introduce it to the RC world. Basically, what I do is I'll show a flight video of a montage, pretty much, of just flights. Could be certain days, could be a combined days, and then I will talk about things happening in the RC world and even the flight that's featured in the video. Um, it's usually flights that would be otherwise unentertaining, less like some of these onboard camera videos. It's pretty insane when all you have is music. I seem to get bored pretty fast, so I thought this was a good thing to introduce to make it a little more exciting. So today I'm going to be doing a review of the Park Zone Habu. I'm very, very impressed with this jet. I feel Park Zone has done a tremendous job with it. Um, this is probably my fifth EDF. I'm relatively experienced when it comes to electric ducted fans. Um, I think this one's my favorite, and this is the plane that I would much rather have if I was gonna have multiples of batteries. Um, for the plane, this would be the plane that I would have those batteries for, because it just runs so efficient and it's very strong. So starting with the build, it's a very easy build, but it's a little more complicated than other Park Zone planes. What they have you do is they have you assemble the wing onto the fuselage, and then they have you screw the horizontal stabilizer. And the vertical stabilizer, it's interesting because it's very solid on how they set it up. It's a plastic, piece that holds it in, and it holds it in pretty good. I mean, I've crashed mine a few times. It's only been out for a few weeks, and I've crashed mine multiple times, and it has withstood each and every one of those crashes. And I've had cartwheels on the runway and all that. It's very strong. It's a very strong way of engineering that vertical stabilizer. The next thing would be the steerable nose wheel. The steerable nose wheel, it's very solid. One thing that I did notice when I was flying it is I had a grass landing that was pretty rough, and the Allen screw that was in there, it kind of came loose and the wheel was a little floppy. So just remember to have an extra Allen wrench or screw, or something to tighten it with in your field bag. I think that's vital for a field day, especially grass landings. Also, one of the other things in the uh, in the setup is the canopy. The canopy, it's solid. It works really well. But one thing that I would recommend is putting a piece of Velcro, a female piece of Velcro on the canopy, and then on the front of where the canopy goes, put a male one, and then so you can match those up and make sure that the wind doesn't totally take it off in flight, which seems a little risky with this jet. The canopy isn't on there really tight. Um, you can One thing is nice about this jet is you can take on and off the landing gear. I personally like having the option of landing on gravel or the parking lot. And I think that maybe sometime down the road, I'd be able to take off the landing gear and grass land it. But I'm very comfortable with the landing gear that I have right now. It really just depends, if you're aiming for speed, or definitely not scale with the Habu, but kind of honing in your skills. Probably go for landing gear if you're trying to do that. It comes with an AR 500. I think that's more than enough suitable for a Habu, unless you're going like full on FPV. Then I might recommend replacing it with a AR 7000 or something. But for now, or for the regular park fire pilot, or even at the field, that AR 500 is perfect. Um, the last thing is the nozzle cone. Now they have you assemble it with tape, and they have you put it on with tape. Um, I think that's a little risky and flimsy for this airplane, especially the speeds that I want to get to and the thrust that I want to put through that nozzle. So that plastic thing, I put it on with 5-minute epoxy, and you might think that's a little heavy. It's not. It doesn't change the CG a bit, and you have to put a good amount on, but it's worth it. It'll never come off. So that's why I recommend. For the battery, I first of all I soldered with my regular Dean's connectors, standardized. I don't really use E-flite connectors. Personal preference. The stock battery works perfect on this jet. I have no complaints about the battery. One thing when I'm flying, I like to have extra batteries, as I mentioned before, and one of the things that I did is I purchased from Hobby King or Hobby City. I'll put a link to that in the description. I ordered several milliamps of batteries, 4 cells, pretty close to the stock battery, but different C ratings, and I kind of wanted to experiment with the milliamps and the weights of the batteries. They're pretty much all around the same weight. I have a 300 milliamp 4-cell 40C battery, which is nearly the same weight as the stock. A 3300 milliamp 20C, which works great. You might think 20C underpowered. No way. It is. I didn't even notice I had it in there. I was shocked when I took the battery out for the first time that I actually didn't put the right battery in, and it flew fine. I also have a 3600 30C, which is very, very close to the same weight as the stock battery. One thing for all these Turnigy, that's why I'm using Turnigy batteries. One thing with all of those is they all cause the ESC to shut down in mid-flight, and I haven't really figured out a way to really avoid that. One thing I did is I did increase cooling by chopping off the nose wheel steering piece of plastic in the front. And that seemed to help a little bit, did provide a little more ESC cooling, but not very much. It still happened. Um, it happens for every single battery. What I recommend is on takeoff, run your batteries easy and then slowly work it back up. Don't run those things too hot. If you do, it might cause, I'm very concerned that it might cause problems with the ESC. All I know is that it makes the ESC very hot and causes it to shut down. When it does shut down, if you're in midair, hopefully you have some altitude. You'll need altitude. What you want to do is you want to bring the throttle down all the way down for 3 to 5 seconds, and then power it back up, and the throttle should be there. If it isn't, there's a problem. You need to bring it in. If there's not, you can actually continue your flight normally. Just slowly work your throttle up, use throttle conservation, and you should be fine. Overall, I'm very impressed with this jet. I've had some, as I said before, I've had some cartwheels, some crashes into trees. Epoxy works great on this foam. One thing I did notice that I don't know if anyone else knows is that there's actually a plywood, it's kind of like a popsicle stick. I think it's balsa that goes right through the wing for extra support, which is very impressive. When I first got this plane, I didn't have to do any trimming. I was more than impressed with that. Whoever wants to set up flaps, I think that would be a great idea. Well, if you want to glue in flaps and make your own hinges and all that, go ahead. But what I would definitely suggest to slow this down, especially for a beginner, is to do flapperons with your radio and plug the other servo into aux 1. I think that would really help slow it down. I might do that myself, just for more stability on landing. One suggestion, if you're really desperate for an airframe, the parts are actually pretty much, if you buy all the parts of the airframe, it's pretty much even to $100. So I want to discuss a little about the commentary. I'm planning on doing this for each week, just talking about RC stuff in general from each week to news to comments and suggestions that you guys have, and after viewing this video, if you like it, send it to a friend. Definitely subscribe so you can follow me, and Thanks for watching. I hope to have another one next week.